let me call this pizza as a service or something like that. Another good analogy from Ashish, yeah, credits. Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here. And yeah, you guys say Saturdays are for the boys, so the girls, we are gonna stay at home and record something for the boys to watch on Sunday, yeah? So, welcome. And yeah, my name is Pauline, and lately I have been reflecting on what to do or the direction of my YouTube channel. I haven't figured it out yet, so I just decided the best way to move forward is to start with what I know best, basically, and then from there, maybe let the journey guide me towards my niche, okay? So, I've decided to do like a AWS Cloud Practitioner Bootcamp series in a very engaging manner. Yeah, I know some of you are here to just learn about cloud computing, while others are just curious about what I do. So yeah, today I'm satisfying all those requirements. Yeah. So before we get started, just don't forget to like, subscribe, yeah, hit the notification bell so that you never miss an update, right? So let's see what I got for you. Let's see what you're going to do, okay? Amazing. As I mentioned, Cloud Practitioner Bootcamp focusing on AWS. Yeah, I'm a sucker for AWS, so why not? Yeah, so first things first, these are the modules I'm thinking of covering. Don't worry about the names. This is just me being my goofy self. So of course we have like 15 modules. I hope we see this through the end. And of course, the first module, clouds aren't just for rain, just an introduction to cloud and AWS. Yeah, and then we move on to the Cloud Atlas, as I name it, and that has to deal with AWS global infrastructure. And I love the third one, I am who I say I am. Uh, this is so relevant, and it's about identity and access management in AWS, networking, compute, storage, databases, monitoring tools, automation tools, serverless, and then advanced identity, security and compliance, machine learning in AWS, pricing, architecting the AWS, when finally for those who are going to like take their exams, just do a small like how to prep for your exam, how to get ready. Okay, so yeah, today as I mentioned, first module, I'm excited for this. Hope I keep this excitement till the end. And yeah, we say clouds aren't just for rain. Welcome to AWS Cloud. And what are we going to cover today? So basically for the agenda, we are going to figure out what is this cloud computing thing, some of the cloud deployment models, some of the cloud service models, what are the benefits and characteristics, why should you go into cloud computing? And finally, yeah, my favorite cloud service provider. What is AWS? We are awesome in here. And so before I get into the next thing, I would like to know, yeah, you can put that in the comment section. How would you explain cloud computing to your grandma or to a child? So for that, there is this cloud computing analogy I love, and you can see at the very bottom, all credits to Ashish, who's one of my favorite instructors. Yeah, when I grow up, I want to become Ashish, and this is one analogy I found from the AWS Cloud Computing Concepts and Tech Analogies book, which yeah, you can find that in Kindle. Yeah, so it's really cool. Let me show you. This is the book with a very nice cover page, AWS Cloud Computing Concepts and Tech Analogies. Yeah, we learn cloud the fun way over here, and some of the others over there, Carlos, Marco, and Ashish. Thank you for giving us such an amazing book. Yeah, but back to what you're doing. So this is an analogy I love, and yeah, I will definitely reference this and reference Ashish more in more of my modules, because yeah, I love his analogies until I create mine. So What can you see on the screen? This is basically a generator, electricity generator. And in the old days, before I was born, this is a story we are being told. This kind of machine was actually used to generate electricity. It looks so big. Of course, it required lots of space, lots of maintenance. I believe expensive, maybe. Yeah, and basically not every industry could afford it. So in the early days, there was no central way of producing electricity. If you needed electricity and you had your own factory, then you had to set up this giant this giant generator. And of course, this must have posed a challenge to any small businesses or someone like me if I was there in the old days, because of just the maintenance, the cost, and everything. And if we look at maybe a very big industry, maybe they needed more than one of these, yeah, and they need a team. A team will be dedicated to maintaining and running this whole machine. So this was very critical in the past, but nowadays what do we do? We have like energy companies that started producing electricity for us. So they produce electricity and then distribute it to us. So they could be hydroelectric power, wind, coal, whatever, nuclear, solar power, whatever kind of power that you're getting. So these companies operate these power stations. They set up the cabling, all these things, and then all over the place, and then distribute electricity to us. And the consumers could be anyone, could be big businesses, could be small businesses, could be a household, small house, just me, yeah. And then we only pay for what we use. So we have the meters and everything, and we pay for the electricity we use. We don't really care about the infrastructure. We don't really care about the cabling and all the things which these companies, have to set up. So how does this relate to cloud computing? Yeah, took you through a whole lots of stories, but yeah, in the early days when companies started to use computers or so, of course they had to create like this big data center, and a data center, yeah, a place where you keep, host, and put all these servers, storage, all these things needed to maybe uh, do some computing or whatsoever. So this is the traditional infrastructure we had before cloud computing. So we have these data centers over there with all this cabling, with all those servers in it. Of course, you need the physical space itself, yeah. Could be an office, could be a garage. You need to maintain, you need to cater for maintenance, and this is just similar to the electricity generator, which you saw in the previous slide. You have to pay for the maintenance of it, and that has to do with the servers themselves, the power, the cooling systems. If you want a new server, that means you have to order it, wait for it to arrive, install it. So that is, yeah, sometimes it's needed over there, yeah. And you need a team, right? You need to hire a maintenance team who will be there, and that just brings a lot of capital expenses to keep this traditional infrastructure running. And so in case of any disasters, yeah, we can expect anything. Should we always be ready for failure? Anything can happen. So the backup and recovery plans would have to be very expensive, because I think you'll have to set up maybe a similar site somewhere else. But what does cloud computing basically do for us? So with cloud computing, companies do not have to worry about all those things, the physical space, maintenance. So we have someone else who will manage these things for us. For example, as we talked about electricity generation, way before I was born, people had to manage their generators themselves if you want to produce electricity. But now we have these companies which are doing this for us, and for us, we just consume. So these cloud providers, which we'll get into, like AWS, handle all these hassles, all these hardware hassles for us, and then we just pay for what we use. Okay, so you can choose your cloud provider in the same way we choose our electricity provider, and then the cloud providers host the resources you need, the computing resources you need in their data centers, and the cloud providers maintain the data centers all over the world and provide services to the customers. And as customers, we'll only pay for the resources we use. And that means we are saving money basically. So I don't have to buy a server, bring it in my own house. I can just access a server from the internet with and pay for only the time I'm using this server. So in case of disaster recovery and maintenance, all these are handled by the cloud providers. So this saves us a lot, and that is basically what cloud computing is. According to Ashish, which I really love this analogy, okay? So, in summary, if we need some electricity right now, we just have to sign a contract basically with an electricity provider. They do the generation of the electricity, they handle the cabling and all those things, distribute that electricity, and us, we just consume it and pay for what we use. And then in the same way, if companies need IT services or IT resources right now, you sign a contract with a cloud provider, and the cloud provider will provide these services for you over the internet, and you as a user, you consume that service with it's just like pressing a button. Oh, I need a server. Oh, I need this storage solution. Oh, I need this and this. And yeah, cloud computing uh, in the way I love it. So, but let me know if you have any cool analogies or cool ways in which you'd explain cloud computing to your grandma, sisters, or those who are not into the IT world, because I get a lot of people asking me, okay, you do what cloud computing? What is cloud computing basically? Yeah, so some of the cloud service providers we have around, of course, we have AWS, Amazon Web Services. Yeah, I'm a sucker for AWS, so I keep preaching the AWS gospel over here. And this is the leader in cloud services. Of course, they offer a lot of cloud solutions, compute, storage, databases, networking. You see all those modules I listed in the start where we were like, these are what we are going to cover. Yeah, all those solutions are offered by AWS. We have Azure. Azure, I love their logo. I feel it's very cool. And this basically appeals more to enterprises who are focusing more on hybrid cloud, because Microsoft products have been around for a while, and there are companies which have already set up Microsoft products, including maybe Office 365, which is the most common. Yeah. So companies who have been using these products, then they would rather prefer to use Microsoft Azure. We have the, but I want to know all these cloud providers we have, like acronyms also. So AWS, Azure, is it AZ? Is it what? I know the exams are like AZ, whatever. But is there an acronym, or it's just we have to say the whole thing? Yeah, let me know. And then we have the Google Cloud, and this has it also offers a wide range of cloud services similar to the other providers, but this has specifically focused more on innovations around AI and machine learning. So the people who are into those stuff, yeah, kind of prefer Google Cloud platform for that. Data analytics and also Kubernetes, which is one of the most common open source container tools available out here. We also have IBM Cloud, and then we have also Oracle Cloud, Alibaba, all the rest. Yeah, lots of cloud service providers are available out here. Yeah, but I love AWS with our smiley logo, and that is what we're going to focus on in this. So we also have some popular platforms in case you're wondering, okay, this cloud thing, have I used it? Yeah. Uh, there is a very high chance I've used solution, which is basically running on the cloud. Spotify. Spotify actually runs and has unlocked greater performance in with its workloads on Google Cloud. So some of these links, I just did some research to make sure yeah, what I'm saying is true. So yeah, so Google Cloud basically powers Spotify on that end. We have Skype, which is using Azure Cosmos DB, which is a NoSQL database from Microsoft. We have the rest, of course, AWS, yeah, Pinterest. So the Pinterest data platform for us who loves pins and everything, really nice over there. So this runs on AWS. We have Netflix, which has been running on AWS, and this can change. So this is just information that is out there, but there is a possibility these things can change. Yeah. We also have Airbnb for those who use that. So just from research, it uses a couple of EC2 instances for its applications. That has to do with Amazon AWS. Yeah. And these are just some of the platforms running in the cloud. Now, next things I would want us to look at some of the cloud deployment models. Um, Okay, so we have the private cloud. I kind of named it the exclusive because these are exclusive to single organizations where they are using cloud services in that specific organization, and that organization has complete control. This is kind of similar or known as on-prem, sometimes on-premise cloud deployment model, where an organization just decides to rack its own servers, has complete control over the management of their services, be it compute, storage, databases. Yeah. So similar to a traditional setup, but they're using virtualization technology. And this is for very specific needs for that specific organization. And the next cloud deployment model is the public cloud. And these are some of the cloud providers that I have shown you, where uh, it's like an open marketplace. You just go buy whatever you need to do or pay for what you're using. So we have a third party provider, examples AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, Oracle, Alibaba, all those. And they manage the resources themselves. Yeah. And then we are accessing those resources over the internet. So this is accessible to anyone. Remember, the private cloud is only accessible to a specific organization. For the public cloud, if you want to use a service, if you want to access a server, you just subscribe to your own cloud service provider and get access to these resources. It's really easy to scale resources, and scaling resources just means adding resources when you need them. And then it's very cost effective. We have this concept of pay as you go pricing. Basically, it means you just pay for what you use. If I use a server for 1 hour, then I pay for that and then disappear for my holidays. Yeah. And then we have another setup which is called hybrid cloud. Just from the term hybrid, yeah, I think you already have a feeling it's just a combination of both private cloud and public cloud. And yeah, this is a mixed environment. For example, you already had your own data center, your own private cloud, your own on-prem environment, and you need some applications to stay in the on-prem environment due to maybe compliance requirements. Yeah. So you can set some of your infrastructure to remain on-prem and then migrate some of your infrastructure to the public cloud. Yeah. So you have control whereby you can, if you have any sensitive data that shouldn't leave your on-prem environment, then you manage it from there. But then it gives us the flexibility whereby we can extend the capabilities um, of the cloud to our applications, the scaling and everything. So we use, just the best of both worlds. And it's also cost efficient, whereby you optimize your cost by balancing some resources which need to be in the cloud are in the cloud, while some of the resources which need to remain on-prem are on-prem. Yeah. So next feature is some of the key characteristics of cloud computing. So we have the first characteristic being on-demand self-service. Yeah. And what does this mean? Us as users, we can access our resources and manage our resources without needing any human intervention from the service provider. In the cloud, we don't make a call and say, oh, AWS, I need a server. We just do some self-service over there. So this gives us flexibility in that we have immediate use and control of our cloud resources here. So I need a server in AWS, click buttons, I need a server, this GB, okay, this RAM, this storage should be this operating system, yeah, and I have a server accessible for me to use. The next feature is the broad network access, and what this means is that resources are available over the network and can be accessed from a variety of client platforms. So you can access resources from your phones, your smartphones, your tablets, your laptops, basically anywhere over the internet. And also versatility in that it supports multiple devices and locations. Yeah, when you get to the next topic on the AWS global infrastructure and stuff, you'll realize that I'm in Kenya, but I can decide to launch my servers in North Virginia, which is basically what majority of us use, right? Correct me. Um, Next characteristic of feature of cloud computing is multi-tenancy and resource pooling. And what do we mean by this? Multiple customers can share the same physical infrastructure. So when we get deeper into cloud computing, we'll understand this better, how we share the same resources and also while maintaining security and privacy in this. And efficient use is that resources are pulled together. Yeah, that sharing of resources helps us optimize our usage in one way or another. Fourth feature or characteristic of cloud computing: elasticity, scalability. We can easily scale up our resources based on demand. So I need a server right now, I can just access it. Oh, all of a sudden I need 20 servers here. Click, click, click. How many servers do you need? 20, yeah? So there is that ease of scaling up and down or uh, just increasing the RAM. So for example, I can just say, oh, my server is so small, maybe 4 GB RAM. Now I need a 20 GB RAM or something like that. Yeah, it's very simple to scale in the cloud. In a traditional setup, that means you have to order another one, yeah? Um, and flexibility in this case has just to do with how we can adjust our resources instantly to match our workloads. So that is by either adding resources to our server or adding multiple servers. Yeah. And then finally, measured service. What I mean by this is our resource usage is monitored and you're billed according to what you use. So if we're talking about an traditional infrastructure. You buy a server, then you have that server till you sell it or till whenever. That server has to be powered on, so you're still paying for electricity even if you're not using that server. Maybe only 20% of that server is being used, yeah? You still have that server for life and you pay for it. But in the cloud, yeah, um, resource usage is monitored. So if I use a server for 30 minutes, then all, that is what I'm paying for. If I stop that server, I don't pay for it. And I don't care about what is happening, power, maintenance, all that. Yeah, I just do what I have to do. And then the cost efficiency bit, yeah, just pay for what you use strategy that I have been talking about. So getting into some of the benefits, I'm sure some of these benefits you have already captured by now when we talked about the characteristics of cloud computing. But there is this concept which says with cloud computing, you can trade capital expense or upfront expenses for variable expenses. What do we mean by upfront expenses? So this basically has to do with data centers, physical servers, and any other resources that you have to invest in before using, yeah? So if it's in a traditional setup, I have to pay rent, I have to find a physical location, I have to buy servers even before figuring out how I'm going to use this server. So any resources or anything you invest in before using them, that is what we mean by upfront expense. But variable expense in the cloud means that you only pay for the compute resources that you use. So you are not required to heavily invest in maybe data centers or servers before you know how you're going to use these servers. So that means that by taking a cloud computing approach, we have the benefit of variable expenses where companies can implement innovative solutions while just saving on costs. Next thing is economies of scale. And what we mean by you can benefit from massive economies of scale is hundreds, thousands, millions of customers are using AWS services. So because all of these people are using AWS services, AWS itself is achieving a high economy of scale. So it's like, oh, thousands and thousands and thousands of users. So these high economies of scale translate into lower prices for the customer. So they're that lenient. The more people are using, the more millions of people are using AWS services, then the cost become cheaper because yeah, all of us are there using these services. Um, Cost optimization. Yeah, computing on data centers always requires you to spend more money and time managing infrastructure, servers, and all those things. But in cloud computing, we focus less on maintenance and we focus more on our applications. How do we optimize our applications? How do I make my business different? Yeah. So we focus on our applications, we focus on our customers. Next thing is capacity, whereby you have to stop guessing capacity. With cloud computing, you don't have to figure out how much capacity you will need before deploying an application. For example, we can launch a server in AWS, pay only for the compute time we use, instead of paying for a whole server which you have purchased and it's not even being used, or having to deal with limited capacity. So you only access the capacity that you need. And even if I don't guess correctly in the cloud, for example, even if I launch a server which is like 8 GB of RAM, and then I decide, okay, this is not enough, then in the cloud I just have the um in the cloud, I can just decide to, okay, this is not enough for me, so I have to scale up and then get a 16 GB one. Or I can even purchase an 8 GB RAM and in the cloud and then be like, okay, this is too much for me, and then scale down if I need to. So that has to do with capacity. The next is speed and agility. And this has to do with how it's very easy for you to deploy and develop applications in the cloud, whereby if I am computing in a data center, honestly, and I have to order a server, it might take weeks or even months if I'm shipping it from the US or whatever, to obtain this result, for me to get that server in my house, okay, or in my data center. But with cloud computing, minutes or less, I just click, I need this server, I get it and I can access it. And finally, go global in minutes. So the global footprint, which we'll discuss further when we get to just the next lecture on the AWS global infrastructure, you'll realize that the cloud enables us to deploy applications to customers around the world very quickly while providing them with low latency. So if I have customers in Ohio, then I might decide to just launch my servers in Ohio also, giving them very low latency. So that means that even if I'm located in a different part of the world than my customers can still access my applications with very minimal delay. So we'll explore the AWS global infrastructure in greater detail just in the next bit, and you'll see how we can use how we can deliver some of the services to customers around the world. So that wraps up some of the benefits we have while using cloud computing. And the next thing I would want to focus on has to do with the cloud service models. And I know you're wondering, what are you doing about pizza? And I swear I can I can smell some pizza in the background, which I know is not available. But yeah, let me call this pizza as a service or something like that. Another good analogy from Ashish, yeah, credits. to Ashish for this analogy, which explains the cloud service models, basically still from the AWS Cloud Computing Concepts and Tech Analogies book that I shared in the beginning of this session. So what are some of the various ways in which we eat pizza? Yeah, we can either make pizza at home. Yeah, we can take and when you make pizza at home, you have to care about everything basically: cheese, toppings, electricity, gas, oven, all those things, a dining table where you're going to eat. Yeah, so if you're a person who loves cooking, then that will be the best option for you. The next option will be buy a frozen pizza from the supermarket. This has already been prepared. They have already taken care of the cheese and all those things. You just need to take it home and make it at home. So in this case, you don't really care about everything. You just care about a few things. So you'll care about maybe the fire, electricity, maybe the dining table where you're going to eat this pizza. The third option, which lazy people like me love, is getting our pizza delivered uh, as per our own choice. So what I only need to do is just say if I need a soda with it, and maybe have a dining table at my place where I'll eat this pizza. And the final option, just go and eat out. Walk into a place. If you don't have a table, or if you don't uh, to care about the table or so, so you walk out, eat, and the people preparing the pizza will have to care about everything from electricity, all those things, to the table and the chairs and the soda and all those things. So I just go and consume pizza. How does this relate to cloud service models? So we have talked about the traditional approach where we're talking about on-prem. And from this picture, you can see still credits to the Tech Analogies book. You can see the blue bit is what you manage, and the green bit means what the vendor manages. And in this cases, we're talking about cloud computing. So in a traditional environment, you'll realize you manage majority of the things, and this is where you uh, bake your own pizza. Yeah? You create your own pizza at home. So you care about everything from server storage, operating system, data, applications, everything is your problem. But then in the cloud, we also have some different service models. Yeah. And these are called infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. Consider if a service provider gives you a ready to use server and they take care of the hardware, and then you connect to that server remotely. So that means that you have saved a lot of effort and time. So you don't have to care about the infrastructure. Yeah? And in this case, the cloud service provider will take care of networking, storage, servers, virtualization, and everything related to the hardware bit. And for your end, you have to care about the operating system you use. So which operating system am I going to choose? The middleware, the data, and the application itself. Now, this is good for admins or administrators who need this kind of control over their infrastructure. We also have the platform as a service. And in this case, the cloud service provider will give you a ready to use system. Um, and this is similar to maybe just ordering a pizza. Yeah? Ordering a pizza. So the administrators or the infrastructure as a service is similar to take and bake, where you take a frozen pizza and then come and bake at home. Yeah? In the platform as a service, it's just like ordering, where you have everything configured for you. So you just have to deploy your applications and take care of your data. And this way you have saved like lots of time. So your your control is more reduced, but you have to focus more on something that makes your application unique. So rather than focusing on things like backups, rather than focusing on things like installation, rather than focusing on updates and patching, yeah, you just focus on how am I going to make my applications better and focus on your data. And then we have the final bit, which is software as a service. Go and eat your pizza out there. And this is a final offering, yeah? You have zero management responsibility. The cloud vendor manages everything for you. So, for example, if you're using an email platform, you just use it, yeah? And the vendor has already set up everything required for you. So you don't even care about the application itself in this case. You just use it. So just an overview of what you have discussed. Infrastructure as a service. This gives you the highest level of control and flexibility in terms of, but the traditional on-prem IT gives you more control. But if you need more flexibility in the cloud, then infrastructure as a service will give you this. Examples are AWS EC2, we'll discuss later. This is just a server in the cloud, and also Microsoft Azure virtual machines. These are just types of servers whereby you don't care about the hardware maintenance, but you care from the level of the operating system. We have the platform as a service, whereby you don't need to manage the underlying hardware and software too. So you just have to focus on your applications and your data. You focus on deployment and managing of your applications. And we also have some services that are examples of platform as a service. And then we have the software as a service, whereby you get like a very complete product in this case. So you don't need to manage anything. You simply just use the software as a customer, and everything else is managed by the cloud service provider. Majority of the services in the cloud fall under software as a service, but we also have some of the examples that we use out here: Microsoft 365 platforms, Gmail, Salesforce. If you have been using these products, yeah, may just go and type on my Word document or so. I don't really care about the application or how it works. Yeah, so I just use it. So these are some of the cloud service models. And to wrap this up, now what is AWS? Yeah, so you have to tune into my series, because we don't want you to be missing out on some of these memes, which, yeah, we normally enjoy these memes, and some of, yeah, you don't want to miss out. Yeah. So if you have already missed out on this meme, more reason on why you should learn what AWS is. So as I mentioned, this is a cloud service provider. And yeah, from the website, of course, it's the world's most comprehensive and broadly adopted cloud, offering over 200 of services, of course, to millions of customers, largest community of customers and partners. Yeah, we have to, of course, we have to flex and then yeah, most secure and all those things. Yeah. And we have a global network of regions, which is definitely what you are going to discuss next when you get into the cloud atlas. And you can see it's an atlas basically, right? Of like the map of the world and where AWS has its infrastructure. Yeah. So that's what you're getting to. So now you are, for those who are always wondering, I'm talking about AWS. What is AWS? Yeah, AWS is a cloud service provider. And yeah, what is cloud computing? All those things which you have discussed before. And yeah, that gets us to the end. For those who missed on this, ma'am, sorry. We try next time. But if you follow through with me, you won't miss you won't miss on it. Yeah. So summary, we have discussed what cloud computing is, some of the cloud computing models. You have discussed the benefits or why you should use cloud computing. Visa as a service, yeah, cloud deployment models, and basically what is AWS, which is just like a cloud service provider offering all these benefits or all these services we have been talking about cloud computing. That wraps it up. So yeah, Paulina Mwakira, you can find me and connect with me on LinkedIn. That is my email, and of course this is my YouTube channel also. And yeah, some of the things I'm proud of course, the community builder group. Yeah, I love being part of the AWS community builders team. You can join us. Very cool, awesome people. Yeah. And yeah, I'm an authorized instructor too. I'm more serious in class. This is just maybe my goofy self, but yeah. So tune in for more. Next week, we're getting into module 2, the Cloud Atlas AWS Global Infrastructure Explained. So stay tuned in. I hope you love this session. Yeah, like, subscribe, comment. Bye. See you in the next one.